Obesity in children, time for change policy. Obesity in children, time for change policy. Time for change policy. Sherry Boughton, HCA 415, Community and Public Health. Instructor A.B. Stein. Date, November 27, 2017. Obesity in children. Who does this issue affect? What is the impact of this health issue on the community? Why does this health issue need to be addressed? Childhood obesity not only affects the child, but it affects the whole family and the community. The complications which can come as a result of obesity can be and is quite costly on a community. It also impacts one's social status as it can affect one's social capabilities as well as their self-esteem may be affected, and many start to isolate themselves from society. This issue needs to be addressed because it is costing in the billions to treat the complications of obesity, but also has an impact on the rate of suicide within these communities because of it. You take obesity, it affects a child and adults as well mentally, their mental status. And depression sets in. As depression sets in, people begin to isolate themselves. And pretty soon they have the thoughts of suicide. They don't know who to talk to or who to go to. And suicide seems logical to a person who's suffering from depression. And these are things that obesity can cause to happen to one. And this is why it is a health issue and it needs to be addressed and addressed now. Obesity in children. It's a bigger problem. Rate of increase in childhood obesity, 2017 obesity rates is what you're going to see within this section of my presentation. The ages 6 to 11 years in 1980 had an obesity rate of 7%. By 2012, that obesity rate was 18%. From the ages of 12 to 19 years, it was 5% in 1980, and by the time 2012 got around, it was 21%. Now, according to the CDC, obesity in children has doubled, while it has yet quadrupled in adolescents over the past 3 years. Obesity for children ages 6 to 11 years have seen an increase of 11%, while 12 to 19 has seen an increase of 16%. In 2012, it was estimated that about 1/3 of the children in the U.S. had a weight problem. To prove that the childhood obesity is a constant threat, as of October 2017, shows the national rate as 18.5 for age groups 2.5 years, it is 13.9%. Age group 6 to 11 years is 18.4%. And age group 12 to 19 years is 20.6%. So you see that in 5 years there hasn't been much change. While it appears that you can see that there's been a slight minimum decrease, it is unacceptable. And if we do nothing to make a change, this is going to get worse because this problem is not going away. And it's not just going to go away on its own. We have to step up and see this as a problem and do something about it. Okay, so now we're time for change policy plan. In this here policy, we're going to look at what needs to be done. We're going to talk about how this plan will work, what it entails. First of all, we need to build a team. We need to formulate that plan, go over the benefits, the costs. You need to have a strategy and implementation, and of course, you're going to have to be able to a way to track this plan, and so that you can see if you need to make any changes that would benefit for the plan to have success and not failure. First, we come up with a team that will help to formulate this new policy plan. We need to include on this team the parents. The parents are the most impactful of this plan and of this group because they are in control over what their children are eating. This is important that they get the education that they need about the obesity and in its entirety. They need to know the severity of obesity and what can happen as a result of obesity, the health issues that can fall in line with it. Many do nothing about it because the fact is they don't understand it. Next is the physician, nutrition expert, teachers, and physical activity specialists. The physician is important because he or she is the first contact to these families and can recommend them to this program. What is good about this change is we go to their environment, to the kids in their environment, at their schools. Nutrition expert is there to teach families healthier eating habits, for this is not a diet, but a lifestyle change. A lot of things fail for individuals because it is seen as a diet. No one keeps up with a diet. So it's not a diet, it's a lifestyle change. The cost of this plan will be very minimal. Our strategy is to hold classes at the schools teaching all about obesity and what health problems can come as a result, letting these families know they don't have to accept being obese and that they can do something about it. And that is what this policy is all about, teaching families how to read labels and how to shop. Then we have our exercise specialists there to teach families how to implement physical activity into their daily lives. The benefit is children will lose weight and gain back that self-esteem. Then you don't just walk away from these families in this program. The program stays around as a support system for the families to help them achieve their goals. And it is a way to monitor the program and its success and to make changes if needed. Next, we're going to look at the legislature approval. And what comes along in this section is your goals, your vision and direction, the benefits, the costs, how it is to be implemented, things that will go a long way to help you get and obtain approval. When trying to gain approval, okay, so we got a little ahead of ourselves. Let's take a step back and we'll revisit legislature approval. First, we go back to the time for change policy. What are the costs and benefits of this policy? What are the risks of enacting or not enacting the policy? How will the lives of people who are affected by the health issue change if the policy is enacted? The cost of this plan will be very minimal, price-wise, but the cost benefits wise will be life-changing, which is priceless. If this plan is not enacted, childhood obesity will continue to rise at an alarming rate. Why, since 1963, the rate of obesity has already tripled. Children here in the U.S. will continue to eat unhealthy, not exercising. They will continue to sit in front of their televisions, playing games, just doing nothing. Not acting will lead to more complications that are linked to obesity, such as heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and asthma, are just to name a few. Which is why the cost of treating obesity and its complications is in the billions. Enacting the policy will lower the cost of obesity and its complications, while helping children and their families live healthier lifestyles. By eating healthy and exercising, they will lose weight and have the chance of living longer, productive lives. It will boost their self-esteem and give rise to their social status. They will gain that self-confidence and that confidence that they lost back. Now back to legislature approval. When trying to get approval, legislatures are going to look for your goals, your vision, your direction, the benefits of your program, the cost of your program, how it is to be implemented, how you're going to track the success or failure of your program. So when trying to gain approval for a new policy, there are a few things that legislature would like to see. You have to lay out what your plan goals are, the vision, the direction for this policy. It is important to lay out the benefits to the community, population, and of course, what will the cost be? Most importantly, how is this plan to be implemented? and time that will be needed. Who will be needed for the execution of such policy. These are all things that, in order to gain legislature approval, things that they're going to want to see. They're going to want to see this plan detailed out. But the important points of it that they're going to want to see, they're going to want to see your goal. They're going to want to see the benefits of this plan and what it is going to cost and your time frame of how long it will take to implement this plan. And this is my policy that I want to come up with a plan to help children who are faced with obesity, for it is a real serious problem and it needs to be addressed and it needs to be dealt with now, for this is a growing problem that is not going away no time soon. And if teachers, physicians, to these mentors, parents to these children don't step up and do something about childhood obesity, then goes into their adolescence and then it goes into their adulthood. It's sad that in the United States has one of the largest obesity rates around. And my plan is to target this on the lower scale through the children, because if you target it through the children and get them to eating healthy and wanting to live healthier lives, they will live longer, and then these children become adults and they will teach these habits to their children. Thank you.